Hello, welcome to Choices Women's Edition. It is more than a joy to be here. You are going to be blessed. Think about it. We're all women. And it is because of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed by what? Whatever. His compassions don't fail. His mercies are new every morning. I stand here to say, great is his faithfulness. Somebody said something about she'll put a smile. I'm not sure I understand it fully. Tell me, Prudence?
Yes, she'll put a smile upon your face, take you to a higher place. Don't you underestimate the strength of a woman. We are strong. And with God's help, we make it day by day.
Amen. But that sounds like Shaggy.
Indeed, great is the faithfulness of God. There's so many examples that I can find and I can think about. I'm going to highlight one. When I was in law school and I was studying, one of the things that started to happen to me at law school, I think it was the greatest attack of my life concerning certain feelings that I had about how I grew up and how I came into the world and my family life. And at the time when I was supposed to be extremely focused, extremely alert, extremely sharp, because it was a highly pressurized environment, that lovely rite of passage that is law school. And I remember for the first time I felt like I was at my lowest. No parents around, your community wasn't there, but God was there. And I think that was the time when I was able to really test my relationship with God to see where I really was, because I was out of my usual home space. And I remember God coming through to show me that, hey, I'm still with you and I'm going to continue to be with you. God is indeed faithful, because I came out successfully and here I am today. This year is going to be a decade that I'm now practicing as an attorney at law. To God be the glory.
Amen. And Tiffany, I'm glad that you actually touched on law school. So in addition to us depending and putting our faith in God, we also should have a plan for our lives. So what I'd say in terms of education, it's a big deal. Any field you'd like to go in, my advice would be, let us think about, is it I want to be a lawyer? Do I want to be a doctor? What are the steps I need to get there? God, and you can call on God. God, this is what is on my heart. This is what I want to be. Show me. And you can do your research in addition to God giving you guidance along the way, opening doors, making opportunities available, and you work towards that. However, whenever you're setting goals for yourself, ensure that you work backwards so you know exactly how to get there. I know that was something that was very instrumental for me on my journey in education as well. So I had to do a lot of research because my field of actuarial science, it's very new. It's not something that you hear in Guyana per se, but it's around. So research had to be done. I have to focus on math. I want to go to this university. These are the passing grades I need. So just encouragement.
But
so
sometimes you don't know what you want.
Yeah.
That's the struggle. You might look at this and this looks nice and there's a whole complication. I remember when I was in high school, I was reflecting on it the other day. A teacher asked me what I was interested in, the list of subjects, and I gave a whole list, science and business included. And the teacher said, no, you can't, you gotta decide. Well, the truth is, I'm touching all aspects of it now, right? Who knows? So now I'm looking, the truth is, and people are doing 29 subjects and all of this, and I get an understanding that there's so much to learn, right? So you have to touch all over. Now, I'm a pharmacist by profession, and I'm an entrepreneur by passion, a mother by calling, a business woman because I don't want nobody rob me or I want to rob myself, and I'm still an individual, a child of the King. So it's a good complication, but sometimes you really don't know where you're going, where you really want.
Adding to what you said, it's very important that whoever we tell our dreams and our plans to, they have our full support. You said you were both interested in science and business, and your teacher told you you have to pick one. But here you are in both science and business. Now, if you had taken that to heart, that would have hindered your potential, your growth.
I kind of take it to heart slightly.
So it's very important that we are careful with who we discuss our future plans with, our ideas with. And we need a very strong and supportive circle, support system. So we must be careful with the friends we have around us. Are they dream killers, or do they allow our dreams to flourish? Can we have intellectual or conversations about our future with them, or are they just focused on things to bring people down and to sully people's names?
I like where you're going, but I want us to be able to tell people out there exactly how do we choose our circle, because we are all here and we all are in different fields, as you would have heard. But how do we know who is in our circle? We don't choose our families, but how do we choose our friends? Because we need to find people who are going to support our ideas. And how do we choose our mentors, or that happens accidentally? How do you do it? Juby?
If I may, I would say that it's very important as a young person to really ask God to help you to identify those persons that will drive you towards your pursuit of purpose. My mom encouraged me. She said, start asking God to send your destiny helpers. And I was like, really, mommy? And I said one day, Lord, please send my destiny helpers. And in that day, 2 persons contacted me and said, this is an opportunity we have for you. The other person said, I haven't heard from you in a while. Let's start a conversation going again. So if you're thinking about pursuing your purpose, but you have no one around you that is offering that support, sit quietly and say, Lord, whoever those destiny helpers are that you have for me, send them. And I know that He's going to send them to you.
Indeed. And I want to say, dream big, despite of where you come from.
Yes.
Dream, I will become this someday. My situation does not allude to that. But here is what, I am not limited by my circumstances. I am not limited by my finance. I am not limited because I come from a ghetto community. I am not limited because I don't have food. I am not limited because I don't have clothes. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So you gotta believe first. If you're gonna get some amount of help, you gotta know that here is what, I don't know how God is gonna do it, but it is possible. And I take comfort in knowing that you could dream, and as you dream and you call upon the name of the Lord, He will provide those destiny helpers that you spoke about, Sister Dewey, and they will come from places that you least expected. I did not know I would hear, what do you want to pursue? We will give you a fully covered scholarship. We will do all your documentation, because there I was, how do I do it? And they said, you don't worry, we'll take care of it. So dream beyond, despite of.
And you know, Keisha, the dreams that we have and the passions that are placed inside us, I believe with all my heart that God plants that seed there. And because He puts it there inside of us, know for sure that He is going to make it possible. Because many are the plans of man's heart, but God's will prevail. And if that seed is in accordance with His will shall prevail. Just put your trust in God.
And I believe indeed, because everything just falls into place. Sometimes we may not know what we want at a certain time in our lives, and even as we're having this discussion about persons coming along us, sometimes people come and go, and I believe that God just ordains it, because we have purpose in us, and because He knows the end from the beginning. He knows where we're heading. Sometimes we don't even know at the start. However, even though like Sister Zoe said, I don't know what is it that I want at this point, but what she did is that she studied everything. So sometimes God allows certain things to happen. He allows friends to come. He allows us so that we can learn, because challenges come so we can learn. Be a seed that's planted in the ground, so that when at the right time you will grow, and God will cause persons to come into your lives that will bring that change that for good. And He's calling us to at the place where we will encouraged. And even though we've gone through what we've gone through, he will use us. And I want you to know that those young women out there who may not know which direction to take, you don't know where you want to, what you want to do, all the circumstances are around you. I want you to know that God is there, and he would have already destined you to be there at such a time as this.
But being additionally, Prudence, we need to look at the persons around us when we are younger too. Because when I was about 5, people would say, "Oh, so you're going to be a doctor," and they kept saying it. And I realized it wasn't just because that was the going thing, or because they wanted to say, okay, well, these are the professions, these are the top professions, and this is where you need to be. I realized that was actually my calling. That was what I needed to do with my life. So it's important as well to listen to those little whispers from before, because sometimes that's God calling you to that area, to that profession.
I would just like to say on that point though, one of the things that I had to do is learn to be more open, because I realized I limited myself a lot even in my younger years when I never wanted anybody to come and tell me what I should do or how I should do it. I also I was afraid to open up to people and share things about myself, because the family that I grew up in, we were very, very tight-lipped, and we never liked sharing our personal situation. But I have found that in opening up, I got the help I needed, I got the guidance I needed, and it allowed me to think more clearly and more targeted in terms of what I want to do and how I do it. And sometimes you don't even know what you want for yourself unless somebody points it out to you. Like I never knew. I knew when I was a child I liked writing, I liked doing all these things, but I never knew that it is something that I might possibly be passionate about. And somebody steered me in another direction, and then every time I miss myself, I'm back into this writing thing. So that is how I knew that that's probably where I belong. So I had to be open, because if I wanted to play deaf ears and I don't want you to tell me anything, I would have never known that is where I belong. So
ladies, I like the conversation where it's going, but I want us to speak to the people who are currently experiencing roadblocks. How do you push beyond that?
I was thinking about saying to
how do we push?
Seed is it's a cold, dark,
and lonely place.
Lonely underneath. Like, what do you do? How do you get out of that? Things look hopeless. You don't know where to turn. You really don't even know your hand from your foot. It seems as though nobody cares, nobody's concerned. I'm like, how do you get out of that hole? Because they're lonely and cold.
Correct. You know, Zoe, I'm reminded of the scripture that says, acknowledge God in all of your ways. We take these things for granted, and he will direct your path. And I know sometimes when we are feeling very emotional, sometimes we allow our emotions to guide us, and I believe that that's one of the most fragile things or misleading things to guide us, our emotions. And we need to be reminded of the word of God and what it says. Acknowledge me in all of your ways, and I will direct your path. And I think sometimes if we just start from there, we go to God first instead of going to him last. A lot of the things that we faced, I think we can avoid them if we just start from the source and then let him guide us to what.
So Tiffany, are you saying that if we go to God first, everything will work out?
Everything has to work out, because
and everything is going to be perfect.
Everything is not going to be perfect, but these are the things. It's under pressure that we have diamonds. It's when an oyster is agitated that pearls are produced. And so all of these things, in my opinion, help to build us, build character, make us stronger, so that we won't be any fly-by-night. And then also we're also able to help the generation behind us, because we have experience. And so it won't be perfect, but the journey is also beautiful.
Something like staying forward. So even as you serve the Lord, listen, there will be failures. I remember being the only student that failed in the class, and the teacher could not understand how is it this student that usually does well is the only one that failed. But here is what I'll say to you: fail forward. Even when you are the only one that is on the ground and everybody's looking to see who's the student that failed, and the teacher tried to preserve me by not calling my name. He motivated me to say, even though you have failed, you don't have to stay on the ground. And I ended up from 4th year pediatrics to be able to exonerate in the 6th year because of that failure, and recognizing that that's not the end of my story. So listen, God will help you, but you will go through trials, and just know that it's not the end. It's really not the end.
So failure is a part of life. I remember I had a teacher, right? It was an experience like that. She said, you know, she was English. She's English major. She understood herself. And then she went to UG, and for the first time in her life, she experienced an F. She said she went home, she cried. She cried. And when she had a good cry, so this really gotta get a good cry. You gotta get it out. When she finished having a good cry now, the Lord showed her, all you have to do is hook it up. When you form the F, it's like this, right? All you gotta do now is hook it up. And it goes straight into an A. She said never again. So many times, the truth is life, we're not perfect. We will fail many times. But thank God that the righteous man falls a lot of times. But what makes him righteous is because he gets back up. You know, you dust yourself up, and you try again. So what's the Keisha? Fail forward.
Yes, Zoe, thanks for sharing that. And I want to say that I'm one of those who know about failure. And I'm going to encourage you today, do not give up. I am pursuing my ACCA qualification, and life happened. And so, you know, I had some breaks, but I'm saying to you, somebody who is at the brink, you're saying, you know, I can't do this thing anymore. I am going on. I am continuing, and you can too, because God is in the midst and He will bring you through.
I want to follow up with what Sister Althea said in terms, and Sister Keisha also in terms of feeling forward. I dropped out of school at 3rd farm, and I wrote myself off, and I never believed that I'm now 31, and I'm now preparing to go to UG, and I was saying, too big, but then somebody that was 56 had to tell me, oh, I'm in UG too, and I was like, So I had to learn to not write myself off, and so failure is not an option, it's not the end of the road. I also learned that with failure, it just tells you that that option didn't work, so try something else. So that is the part I really recommend people to take when they say, oh, I didn't work with me in the one, I want a car now. Try something else.
And if I may add, I was one of the people that Sister Zoe talked about that cried, right? I got a paper, I wrote a paper, and the sir gave me some comments. He said, you know, don't put this, don't put that. And I went home, I cried. I said, Lord, how this man can grade me like this? I said, anyway, I went on his profile. I looked for essays he wrote. And I studied how he writes his essays, and I said, all right, next assignment, I'm going to use your exact strategy and format. And I did that. You know, he had no comments in my next essay, but guess what? Only 5 extra marks, which meant that what I had before was probably good. I just needed some adjustment. So my encouragement to you is that sometimes you may do your best, but to others it might not seem like the best, and don't write yourself off. Know that your best is good, but always strive to do better, and that's my encouragement to you.
You know, I want to say too that your journey is your journey. Do not. Many times we compare ourselves with others, and that throws us off because we don't measure up. We don't look like this person. We're not achieving like this person. But God has uniquely gifted you. Your journey is your journey. Keep your eye on the prize, and you just keep pushing forward. Do not let anybody sidetrack you from where you have to go.
And I think all of our stories today is a test of faith. We've spoken about our journeys, but because of our faith in God, we are constantly reassured that we can keep going. So even to the point of you're facing failure, disappointment, you're wondering, how can I go forward? Remember, there is a true and living God. Have faith in Him and believe. I often say, if you believe that you can achieve that thing, you can do it. And we hear about it in the word. You say to that mountain, move from here to there. Once you have faith and you believe the mountain is going to move. In this earth, you may not see that immediate move, but it's shifting. So with your struggles, your challenges, your disappointments, have faith, and each step of the way ask God to give you the guidance, the faith, and the strength to take you to your next level.
And God is so faithful, because sometimes we feel so overwhelmed. Because being a mother, a pediatrician, a teacher at church, you have so many activities. Sometimes you are so overwhelmed. But God, sometimes I am amazed at what I am able to do. I'm like, God, you are so great. Because where is the time? Where is the time? Where is the strength? Where is the energy?
And I find there's a support system that God brings. He just brings that at the right time. The
I like where the conversation is going, and I got a lot of key points. Fail forward, don't be afraid to fail, and even when you do get up again, so I'm wondering about a person who is sitting down at home listening to this message, and let's say they are like you, they are juggling a lot of hats. How do we really, I like what Kezzy said just now, how do you in your lives navigate all of these different balls? And if one ball drops, how do you encourage yourself to keep going so that the other balls don't drop, and to pick up that other ball? Let's get real. We got about 5 minutes left. Let's get real in that. How do we navigate that part of it? Anybody, how do we navigate that part?
I think planning is key. You need to plan. You need schedules. You need order. Sometimes it falls through the cracks. That's the truth. Sometimes it falls through. But you need to plan. You need organization. And God is not a God of disorder. Let everything be done decently and in order. So we need to plan. We need to be proactive and say, okay, this is how my day will go. It might not go that way, but I think planning is key.
Setting priorities, it's such an important thing. I remember juggling a whole lot of things, and it seemed as though 24 hours in a day was not enough. There was so much to do in one day, and I sat, and it was a difficult time because I had to make major decisions. In entrepreneurship, I was balancing that with motherhood, with my full-time job, and the truth is, I knew what I was not going to let go of. I was not going to let go of my relationship with God. I was not going to let go of wifehood, of motherhood, of service unto the Lord. But the thing about it is that I worked on a business. You want a baby to die. I did not want the baby to die. And interestingly, God, the last thing on the list seemed to be my dear profession, the pharmacy professional. So, now this paying the bills. I moved by faith. I gave up this with agreement from my husband, mind you. I gave up on this because now, I was studying too. This is going to happen. It has to happen.
This is in the business.
This is in the business.
Okay.
Remember, I gave up one. I set my priorities. I take off what needed to be first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
Okay.
Right, to get this done in 24 hours. I had to let go of something. It was tough. It was so tough. It was moving from the known to the unknown. I knew that the people that deposited money into my bank accounts every single month, I could give an account for that. Now it's moving into the unknown. But you see, with God, all things are possible. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. I think He's feel real nice when we step by faith. So you ain't know how much money you're making today, but step, and He helped. Man, they ain't got a day we starve. They ain't got a day we had nice clothes, right? And guess what? I have found that my dear profession of pharmacy has beautifully been intertwined into everything, so I didn't lose. You see, with Jesus, you don't lose, you know. You really don't lose.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes we think that we want to get everything covered by
That's a
ourselves.
mic drop
It's
moment.
okay to say, I need help.
I love
Please help me. One of the simple things I looked at, one of my sisters who's here, you got lots of children. It's okay to say, I can help you fetch baby number 1.
Yes.
You carry baby number 2.
Yes.
It's okay to say, I need help. And you know what? We have a community around that can provide that help. Being vulnerable to the right people is okay. It's
But
okay.
how do you know who to trust?
It's okay.
Sister Zoe, women are known as being chief multitaskers, and that's something I've been trying to get women to like. Okay, don't be chief multitasker. You know, if we were to put on a hat, a mother, student, pharmacist, business person, chief multitasker, and all of those things require dedicated attention. So how do we get past being chief multitaskers? And also, I had another question for everybody. It's still a struggle sometimes putting faith into practice when you have so many things wanting your time and attention, and how do we navigate that?
I think sometimes, so I'm a new mother, and so life has been an adjustment. And one of the things that is difficult for me to do sometimes is ask for help, because I like things done in a certain way, I like things done in a certain time, and I want it done now. And one of the things I've had to depend on, and because of how my delivery was, is I don't have a choice right now. I have to depend on others. And because of that, it's humble pie. Because now you can't be superwoman. You now have to be a normal woman. And you now have to accept your frailties as a human being. And so one of the things it taught me to do is ask for help. And so the people around me, I thank God for my support system and the village that is around me. And God has, even leading up to this time, God has actually placed some beautiful people around me now, people that pray for me, And so asking for help is something that we must humbly do.
I really appreciate this, and as women, this is a conversation that could keep going on, but I hope you heard from us. It's not about being superwoman, but it's about being your authentic self, looking for asking for destiny helpers, and looking for building your supportive community. So join us again, whether the men are here or us ladies are here again, and we are going to be here to encourage you in your walk with Christ. And it's a beautiful thing. And I thank you, all of you beautiful ladies, because you were very authentic and very vulnerable in front of a camera with us here where we're comfortable, but also you really touched and helped somebody. So this is our moment of paying it forward, and we pray that when you reach this stage, you get an opportunity you pay it forward to. Thank you, because our life is a sum of our choices. Peace out.
We thank you for joining us on Choices today. Remember, you can join us at First Assembly, LNP Durbin Street, Workmanville, Georgetown, Guyana, for any of our special services. I'm Celacia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.